All right, everybody, we got a content warning today. Listener discretion is advised. This episode discusses the topic of suicide. If you or someone you know is struggling or is in crisis, help is available. You are not alone. There will be more details at the end of the podcast and in the description. We are back at the Who is Will Sims podcast. Hold on. I just looked at myself in the mirror and I was just like, no.
Do I look okay?
You look fabulous.
Thank you. That's the most important part. If you have a woman on your show, gotta make sure she looks good.
Yeah. I always, as long as the camera angles look good and I try not to make other people wear headphones or anything. I just make sure everybody sounds good, All right, hair's looking good. All right, we are back at the Who is Will Sims podcast. Today, my guest is Briella DiPasquale.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. It gets everyone, for the record. I don't want you to change that because it happens all the time.
Well, you've got the deli up there on Joppa Road, and it's or Isabella Road.
No. Well, there used to be one in Falston. Now there's one the original was in Highlandtown. They moved. Now there's one in Canton and one in Harborview.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, ever since I saw that place, I've been how do you even say that?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. You either know it or you don't. Like being on the phone with credit card companies or at the doctor's office, and the amount of versions of my name that I have heard is extensive.
Yeah, I mean, people can't even spell my name right. Like I'll literally email them back and forth 10 times.
And they'll still get it wrong.
And they'll still spell it wrong on their flyers or their posts or whatever. It's all right, whatever.
Or Briella becomes Brielle so easily because of autocorrect.
Yeah.
So it can be people I've been emailing with for weeks and it's still Brielle.
Yeah.
I'm like, but yeah.
So Briella has just started her own podcast, the Perfectly Disordered Podcast.
Yes, sir.
And you have kind of a wide variety of guests. You kind of you're focused more on people's stories and how they've overcome difficulty to kind of pursue things that they are really invested in and want to, whether it's more charitable things or more artistic things, and it's really cool. So tell me what kind of inspired you to start the podcast and how's that been going for you?
Sure. Well, I started the podcast in September of 2025. And it's funny because it had been something that was on my mind for a long time. This is kind of going back in time a lot, but my family has suffered with mental health issues forever. I would argue it's like a generational curse. So I have had a really crazy life story as far as watching mental health issues and also experiencing them. I had some really intense struggles in 2017 and in 2020 during COVID. And I just, the Lord brought me back from that in such a powerful way when I really shouldn't have made it through. And I thought, I want to help other people have hope. I hadn't heard anyone's story that was exactly like mine. in 2017, I had a marijuana-induced psychosis. So I was hospitalized for 3 months in and out of psychiatric hospitals. I was so over-medicated that I literally was drooling and couldn't remember my last name. Ironically, it's hard to say. So, and then in 2020, I actually almost took my own life due to the stress of COVID. So God brought me back from those things, and I kind of made a pledge that I would help other people, right? I went to this entree leadership training. It was with Dave Ramsey and Jordan Peterson and a bunch of like great thought leaders. And there was a speaker that came on, and he was so inspiring. And I thought, I got to share my story. I got to find a way to start supporting people and also spread awareness. And I thought about writing a book, but I hate reading books. So podcasting came onto my radar, and I thought, I love to yap. So maybe that's where it's at. And so the Perfectly Disordered podcast was, the thought child was born. The name really, life is so messy, right? So Perfectly Disordered really just kind of covered everything about me, about my life, about life in general, and disordered, obviously, because I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder at that time. It's been shifted a little bit because if you're under any kind of drug or alcohol, like when you're diagnosed, changes criteria now. But at the time, it was bipolar 1 disorder, and so I thought Perfectly Disordered. Yeah, so that's how that came to be.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the kind of like having it in your mind to do a podcast forever. That's how I felt. I was like, man, I'd love to do a podcast and talk with people. But then like it kind of got into my head as like, well, who's gonna give a crap about anything I have to say? And then like when I like really thought about it, I kind of like started looking at it through the lens of like, well, it's not, I know it is called the Who is Will Sims podcast, but like I really want to do it to kind of, spread awareness to things that I am passionate about, whether it's, artistic things I like or people that I know in the scene that are doing really cool stuff, and just trying to like create that network of like sharing other people's work and stuff. And that felt a lot more appealing to me.
Yeah. Well, it's community based. I like it because it's supporting local people, local artists, having real conversations with people who don't always get a platform. Like that's what's so interesting about it, is that I've had people on who have had extensive platforms, and some people who have never talked in front of a mic ever. So it's nice because it can be for anyone. And I like that. It's approachable.
Yeah. And then the other thing you mentioned about, the whole like COVID isolation thing was really hard for a lot of people because, up until that point, that's not like the type of thing that anybody has ever really experienced before. So I imagine it was such a difficult lifestyle change for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, especially the isolation side of it, like I pretty much just sat around and played video games most days. So it wasn't like, I'm already kind of like a lone wolf kind of person. So it wasn't like that difficult for me to adjust to that. But definitely like the side of it where I wasn't able to like go out and play music and stuff. That was hard.
Yeah. COVID definitely messed me up because I'd worked so hard to get better from my psychotic episode in 2017, and I'd rebuilt my life finally, and I felt better, and I was living in San Diego. I was nannying out there, and I was like just getting momentum. I was just feeling better. And then COVID happened, and I'm in California. Like the worst place to be. I remember you couldn't even go to the beach. And I'm like, what am I doing here? And then at that time, I was trusting of the media. I was trusting of the news. I was like, we're all going to die. And I was like, what's the point? Yeah, I worked so hard to rebuild my life. I worked so hard to get here. And now everyone's going to die? Well, I guess I want to die too. So that's when I made the attempt on my life. And it didn't work. Thank God, I'm here, and I'm here to spread awareness for a lot of reasons, as you know. But coming back from that was so hard too. And then I realized that, you know what? I'm meant to be here for some reason. I have a calling. And at that time, I wasn't sure what it was, but I said, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here and I'm going to make it good. And I made that pledge to myself to make it good. So,
Yeah, I think about because I know there's a lot of people that are struggling just with the way things are today, because I feel like so many things are different now than they were maybe 8 or 10 years ago. Just I feel like there's a very volatile nature to the way people socialize with each other.
yeah,
And
very divisive.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of coming together for stuff. And I do a lot of events and stuff for work, so it's I get to see people gathering for different things, which is really cool. But I think for most ordinary people that are just trying to do your 9 to 5 thing, I think people are less inclined to go out and interact with other people.
Well, they're afraid,
for fear of who you might run into,
or what you might say, or who you might offend, or and that's really why also the podcast has this lightness about it. If you listen to the intro, there's a lot of glitter sounds and a playfulness about it, because life is so heavy. Life can be so dark. And at the same time, right, there is this need for joy, right? There's this need for hope. And so the point, right, is to share deep stories, but to be able to share hope at the end, to be able to share tools and resources and make people laugh and not take themselves so seriously. It's okay to acknowledge pain. It's okay to share about those things. But at the end of the day, it's what are you doing with your story to support people? That's why the hero's journey is so important in my show, because I believe everyone's on a hero's journey. And so it's about being at the depths of despair, feeling at the bottom, whatever that is, right? It can be something as small as changing careers to losing a loved one, right? It's so broad, but we're all on this journey. And so can you become the hero of your own story? Can you see yourself as a victor and not a victim? And can you help people along the way? That's the whole point, right? So it's not to just sit in that sadness. We got to go there, right? In order to learn, in order to empathize. Empathy is so important, but bringing people up at the end, being I believe in you. I've been there. If I can do it, you can do it too. And let's freaking laugh about it. That's literally it. So that's why I said perfectly disordered, because it is so messy. And that's why we were talking about this earlier, the mistakes in the podcast, sometimes the weird bumps or the sneezing or whatever. It's I just leave it, because that's conversation. That's real life. So
yeah, that's part of the whole thing. And I recently went back and have been starting to clip out stuff from all my different episodes. Because, for a while I was just kind of doing them and putting them up, but then I was kind of realizing that I wasn't really utilizing it in a way that, could kind of have better outreach to people, giving people the chance to find it. So I've been doing that, and in that process, I've been kind of listening to some of the earlier episodes and been man, have I come a long way? Because, you kind of realize, oh, I talk too much, or I kind of say things that I'm trying to inject a point in that I don't know why it felt necessary, but just little things like that where I'm well, I'm getting better at this, or I'm getting better at that.
mm-hmm.
And but the whole process has been a learning experience. And so what was it like for you when you kind of made that commitment to do it, and you were kind of deciding how do I do this? What was that whole process like of figuring it out?
Ooh, well, I had the premise set. The premise has not changed, right? Sometimes when you start a brand or you start a business, your vision will start one way and then shift in another. So the vision has stayed the same. At first, I was interviewing people without an outline. Right. And it went pretty well. My first episode is actually with a young man who had started his own business out of school, and it was really cute. He was in middle school at the time.
Yeah.
It was super funny, super cute, no outline. And then I remember my second episode is actually with my brother, who recently passed away. And I remember that was the first time I'd ever made an outline. And I tried it out on him, and I remember being like, is this working? And he was like, yeah, this is freaking great. And I was like, okay, cool. So I just never wanted to overstructure it, right? So I think for me, it was like, how much control do I actually want to put on this conversation? So that was tricky for me to start. So it started out very open concept conversation. And then I got to a place where I thought, okay, rough outline, just basic points to get through the story. And yeah, so it went really well. And I see that progression as my episodes have been coming out. And of course, I've taken a long break because of my brother passing away. But I'm really thankful for the opportunity today, because I feel like this helps me to not have to think so hard instead of being on the other side of the mic. And it makes me want to get back into it. So I think that momentum will continue. And I think the structure that I did find is working. So just continuing in on that, you know. Does that answer your question? I feel like I feel like I did.
Yeah. I felt the same way as I was doing it. I initially, I mean, I always kind of had the outline of like, well, let's go back and start, because I was mostly doing a lot of musicians, because I'm a musician, and so that felt like a really natural thing for me to kind of map out, like, oh, how did you start in music? What was it like playing in your first band? Like stuff like that, and kind of working through the history. And then, I kind of realized that because my first kind of group of guests were kind of a mix of people I just met. So I didn't really have any history with them. So I was trying to figure out how to like engage in that conversation. Like, how do I dig deeper? Whereas like the other group of people were people I've known for a long time in the scene, who I would see, several times a year. But our conversation was usually just like, hey, what's up? It's good to see you.
Surface
like,
level. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, so it was like, well, I've seen you play for years. I've listened to your music, like I want to dive deeper. I want to know more about this person, So it was kind of trying to like mesh those two things and make it feel like, a real conversation. And then there was like a few times where I felt like, okay, like I could have been better prepared, because you kind of hit that brick wall of like, okay, what are we talking about now?
Next?
Like, so that's been a real process of like learning and making it grow. And then, it's always fun trying something new and seeing if like people are into it, or like they're kind of like, what's going on here?
Well, I was going to say, like, I think for so many years, I didn't think of myself as an artist. And now I kind of laugh about that, because I'm like, you got to be like kidding me. Of course you're an artist. Like what? Singing, dancing, acting, creating art, literally physically, and also podcasting. Okay, you're not an artist. But what I realized about creating art, and especially with podcasting in the format that I use, right, is the need for authenticity. Like you have to have it feel real, because it has to be real. It has to be in the moment, right? So how do you balance trying to get authentically deep with someone and also getting to the point? And that's hard, especially when it's somebody you've known for a long time. I think that's the hardest kind of guest to have, actually.
Yeah.
Is somebody you've known forever, and you've only had pretty chill conversations with them, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's dig in deep.
And that can be tricky, I think, sometimes, and trying to be real about it. So I just think it's for me, it sounds like for you as well, it's the getting deep with people. That's what she said. The getting deep with people, but also the authenticity piece when creating this kind of art is very tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, a few of the people that I've had on, and like actually like a couple of the first people I had on were people that were also doing podcasts. A lot of I feel like almost half my guests are people that have either started their own podcast or I've been on their podcast.
That's cool.
So it's like, it was that was also like part of the thing, was it kind of inspired me. I was like, okay, like this is something I think I could do, just in terms of being able to have it be fun and not feel like work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know you've had kind of like a wide variety of guests on. What have been like some of the best, like the most inspiring stories you've had? on there?
I've had, man, I've had so many good ones, honestly. They're all good for different reasons. I think that the benefit of my show, right, is that you have such a wide range of content. Obviously, my number one favorite right now is the one with my brother. I love that one so much. I listen to it all the time. I was listening to it before all the time, you know?
Yeah.
I like it because I'll talk about other ones, but I like that one specifically because it's so relatable. My brother left being a CPA, making over $200,000 a year, because it made him miserable, and he chose to put himself out there and become a fitness instructor from scratch, in his late 20s, and essentially become an artist. He built a brand. He got into music. He was, but he chose a path less traveled. And he chose risk, and I think that's something in this country specifically that a lot of people are afraid to do, with the way our economy is. It's all about money, and he chose something brave because he wanted more. So I find that very inspirational. Man, other stories. I mean, I've had people come on talking about overcoming postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I'm a mom, so bringing awareness to those things is really powerful. I had my producer come on talking about how to find joy again when your art becomes your work. And again, so I think it can be, and then I also had a young woman come on talking about losing her dad at a young age and how fitness and therapy were her guiding light through that, as she got into her adult years. So I think it's fun because they're all important for different reasons. All these stories matter for different reasons. And I think whatever season of life you're in, an episode will speak to you for different reasons. So it's hard to pick just one favorite, but I'll go with Lorenzo's right now.
Absolutely. The other thing you mentioned that drew my attention was talking about not feeling like artistic or creative, which is like, I think a thing that a lot of people feel, and a lot of people don't think about. I've heard people talk about this where they say like a lot of people don't feel that way, but people like even though you might not be a musician or painting or doing photography or something like that, like people are still creative in their just day-to-day life. Sometimes it's just as simple as like being able to problem solve or if something unexpected happens, like being able to figure out solutions and stuff like that, even if it's just as simple as like, oh, like there's traffic on 695 and I know if I go this way, I can go around it, just little things like that people don't think about. And a lot of that stuff, like, if you're able to do that, like you can probably like incorporate that into like creative parts of your life if you feel like that's something that's lacking. So
yeah, I think we're all artists, honestly. And I think that's like such a big part of who we are fundamentally as children. Like if you think about the things you do when you're in kindergarten, right? You color. We all freaking color. We all listen to music. We all dance. Like there are these fundamental pieces of art that we all do, right? We take in content from like favorite Disney movies. We dance around the kitchen. Like it's all art, right? And I think as you get older, you forget that. And I think you don't learn to see it because it's all patterns. It's all, if you're really into something as little as like putting stickers on your laptop.
Yep.
Why did you pick those stickers? Why did you feel attracted to those colors? Like it's the little things. Yeah. How you navigate traffic, how you look at a map. Like it's all art.
Yeah.
The music you listen to, like you might think you're just turning on a song, but that song speaks to you for a reason. It's something within you that reflects it. So yeah, I think that's the joke. I think for anyone who doesn't think they're an artist, like you really are. You just don't know where it is.
I mean, it's a lot. The one that makes me laugh the most is like, I've been playing in bands for years and watching people sing songs and like, they don't sing the words right. And, it's kind of like, maybe they hear the song differently, or they thought they were saying one thing and they're saying something else. And I know that I've done it a lot too, but
Same.
it's kind of a creative thing.
Same,
It's like,
same.
you're finding, you're kind of like, you're kind of making it fit into your world, which is like it's a big thing for artists,
Yeah.
as you're kind of putting your art out there for people to interpret it and, make it a part of their world. So I've always thought that was a funny one, but
Yeah. I think what helped me also, this is a kind of a side thing, but what helped me to understand myself as a creator the most is actually the Enneagram. I don't know if you're familiar with the Enneagram at all.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. So it's the numbers, right? There's like 9 numbers. It's almost like story based. So every number has a character trait. So I'm a 4, so that's the artist or the romantic. And and I'd really encourage anyone who's like interested in learning more about what kind of creative they might be to use that as a tool, because it really did change my life and my brother's as well. Actually, he was a 7, the entertainer, of course. And tools like that are really helpful when it comes to like just sort of figuring out like, what is my niche? Like, how do I operate? Why do I do the things that I do? Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard about the Enneagram stuff. I know there's different kinds. I can't remember if I've taken the test or not, but I imagine, I don't know. I could be any of them, I guess.
An investigator, maybe.
I know there's a band called Amberlin that wrote a song called Type 3, and that's what it was about.
Oh yeah, Sleeping at Last. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's a great artist. He wrote a whole album based off the Enneagram, actually, which is
nice.
Stunning. So it's like a whole podcast album where he interviews an Enneagram expert and explains how he composed each song individually for each type. It's stunning. And then they have the songs that he wrote. It's really cool. He deconstructs how to write a song based off of a character type. Really, really cool.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So you've been a friend of our family for a long time, and from my understanding, you met my brothers and sisters. You guys were doing like hip hop dancing. Is that the We were at the Rage Box.
At the Rage Box. Shout out Rage Box Contemporary Dance Studio. Yeah, my brother and I took lessons there, and we were kids. And of course, Lorenzo was beyond excellent. He was competitive, right? So he was in the troupe, and he was taking a all boys class, and Lewis was in it, and Michael was in it, and they became friends. And then and I was in dance class. Bella was younger than me at the time, your sister, but we all like connected and just like stayed in touch for a long time. Our moms are friends. So yeah, again, art brought us all together,
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I think around the time when you guys were doing that was when I was in high school, and I think I did first of all, my mom made me do ballroom dancing lessons.
Yes,
with her,
which we also did.
I didn't like hate it, but it was wasn't like the coolest thing. But
no, definitely not.
But
it
also,
is useful.
Yeah, but then after school, there was this one guy. He did a couple like breakdance type class things that I did, and that was fun.
That is awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I remember going to some of the dance things and seeing like them bust out all the moves and stuff. But
throwback. It was like to that song, the get up, get on up, get up, like a sex machine, get on up. And Lorenzo and Lewis were like just busting out their moves. It was so cute and so funny. And Lewis took it so seriously. I remember that. It was so good.
Lewis another competitive person. So
competitive. I know. And I think Lewis was actually better than Lorenzo at that time when it came to the breakdance stuff, because I think Lewis was stronger than Lorenzo. But Lorenzo, I mean, you can't. The footwork, you just can't, compete with that. But it was really fun to watch them take it pretty seriously. It was cute.
Yeah, I mean, even these days, I mean, when we were doing the Memorial Day cookout last week, we kind of ended up inside playing video games, and he just gets so worked up. If you beat him, he's like, and then if he beats you, he's like, that's what, just it's hilarious, and we love it.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But yeah, I think that there's something to be said for creating that atmosphere with the podcast, and trying to give people a space to talk about things that they're passionate about is a really beautiful thing. And I'm happy to see you doing that. And so I hope you keep it up.
Yeah.
It's always the hardest thing to keep it going, I think, for a lot of people. And a lot of people feel like if they can't keep like the regular schedule, then what's the point of doing it? But I know, like, for me, my life gets really hectic, and
Sure.
but as long as it's something I'm still excited about doing,
Oh yeah.
I try to make sure I make time for it.
I mean, I love it. I would say it's my life calling. Right now I've taken this long break. I have so many episodes in the queue. Like, I do. It's crazy. Like, the day that I found out Lorenzo passed away, I had just released a new episode that morning. The last post that I made was trying to promote it. It was like that morning. And then we found out in the afternoon that he was gone. And it's crazy because the mission of the podcast is ultimately what's going to help save me. And I think, and save other people, right? Like, I think that's the thing that I keep thinking about a lot, because I am going to get back into the podcast. I am going to revisit, and not just because I started something I got to finish. It's like, no, this is going to help keep me well. And I think that people, if you're an artist, like, never underestimate how important your art is, because like tragedy will strike. Things will get hard. Just like you with your dad, right? Like the art is what's going to keep you well. It's going to help you heal. It's going to help you create again. It's going to help you keep that legacy living on. And, when I start a nonprofit for Lorenzo, when I start to spread suicide awareness, when I start to do these things, the podcast is going to help to ground me into what matters, what the vision is. So ironically, the vision of the show is also the vision of Lorenzo and what his life's purpose was and what it will continue to be. And so I have a lot of reasons for continuing on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be foolish to like not try to draw that line of like, my father passed away in, fall of 2023, and I started this in winter of 2023. I don't know if like, it probably wasn't a conscious thing. Most of my
It
ventures
never is.
aren't conscious. It's just kind of like, let me do this. It kind of is the same way with writing songs. It's like sometimes I'm like just writing and like it feels like it's about one thing, and then like later on you're listening to it like, oh, it's actually about this, and it's actually pretty. I've found that it's been a very helpful thing with like kind of feeling like I have this purpose to keep going, as opposed to just, like internalize. I'm not great at talking about my feelings. I'm always kind of.
I think you're doing good right now. I think if you're talking with me, you have no choice. Like, that's kind of, it's inevitable.
I've been told that I can be aggressive. What's the word? The way they put it, aggressively open. I'm terrible with words. No. Only when I need the word is when I'm terrible.
Aggressively open. You're fearless.
Yeah.
And your vulnerability when you want to be.
Aggressively vulnerable. That's the word that they were trying to say. And I was like,
that.
I don't know. Like, I think that if I feel passionate about talking about something, I'll do it,
Yeah. I've learned not to hold back. I think that the term trauma dumping is... There are some people who have a hard time reading the room. And so I think that term works for some people to help kind of be mindful, right? But in general, life is meant to be shared. Stories are meant to be shared. They are messy. Trauma is real. And holding back from people, like due to fear or being judged or being too much, I think is toxic. That's why I'm very careful with the term trauma dumping.
Yeah.
I think it inherently causes stigma around vulnerability. So I don't like that.
Well, I think I feel like that term probably gets used a lot as like a kind of a like, I'm just going to talk about my bad day, and it's like, okay, well, it probably wasn't as bad compared to some people. I know that I'm like always like the one. I'll be like, like I freaking, was driving here and hit traffic, and then I walked on the building and I tripped over something, and then someone will be like, well, I got into a car accident. It's like, okay, so like I should just shut up and not say anything.
Right.
I feel like I'm the best at like putting my foot in my mouth in that situation. But like with my podcast, I want to give people that environment to like open up about those things without feeling like I'm trying to be like, like those interviewers that are like, oh, like, well, let's dig into this thing that's, like I'm looking for a scoop or something,
I just thought of something. I feel like it was like kind of like a God moment a little bit. I was going to say, like, as artists or creatives, I feel like at times we do feel things so deeply, right? There is this level of pain that I think that anyone who creates, anyone who has been through loss, trauma, whatever it is, which by the way, we all have, varying degrees. If you, and this is really like a call to action, I think, for anyone, but if you ever feel very alone in your pain, if you have a hard time opening up to people, letting them see you, allowing your art or what you create to speak for you is really powerful. If you have a hard time explaining to your loved ones how you feel, but you're a musician, put it in a song. If you have a hard time with words, but you love to write like poetry, give them the poem. Like, use whatever medium you have to share what's going on in your mind in a safe way so people can help support you. That was, maybe that was a little random, but it just ties into like the power of art. And I think the power of trauma dumping to those you love, but using it in a way that makes you feel safe,
I think that as I've gotten older and more experienced as a songwriter and a musician, I think I've found, feel like, especially listening back to my older stuff, I have a tendency to kind of be more vague or, try to write things in like a very metaphorical way. Mm-hmm. But I found like my songwriting lately has been much more like honest and upfront and kind of like much more raw.
Getting
like I'm
specific.
saying the thing that I want to say and trying to say it in a way that's like, no, like, listen, like, this is what I'm like, I want you to hear this, trying to find like that one phrase that really cuts to the core of what I'm feeling and,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that that's definitely something like, the most popular song I've released is the song I wrote about my dad after he passed away. And like, it was just a very open, like honest, like, the song is really a tribute to him and like,
Mm-hmm.
like all he did for us, me and my mom and all the kids and stuff, even the kids that weren't his,
Mm-hmm.
He was just somebody that was what his whole life was based around, was supporting us and making us feel safe and like knowing we had someone that we could go to if we needed anything.
Yeah. I think that the one gift you can get out of loss, especially with someone who you deeply knew and deeply loved, I think is for myself, I'll speak for myself, and it sounds like you had the same experience. You become fearless with sharing your heart with people, even if it makes them wildly uncomfortable. It's like, I know what it is to lose someone deeply, and I know that there are things I still want to say, and I won't hold back from the people that I love anymore. I won't be afraid to say how much I love them. I also won't be afraid to tell them the truth, even if it hurts their feelings. It is a gift that they give you. It's really weird. You use it wisely, right? To build people up, not tear them down. But you say what's true, and that is freeing, because that's what they would want for you. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah, I definitely think about, like, I think, especially with my dad, like, we weren't like, it wasn't like a super emotional relationship. It's not like we always talked about our feelings. He was a very, kind of like a tough guy, very like kind of quiet.
He meant business.
Yeah, like you knew he loved you, but he wasn't going to be like, like, I love you, son. Like, he
right,
wasn't
he wasn't
like
gonna
that.
be mushy-gushy about
Exactly,
it.
like, but I knew that if like I called him at 2 a.m. and needed a ride, like he would pick up and come get me or whatever, like stuff like that, where you just, you knew he had your back. And yeah, it's definitely, it's like I definitely look back and like I hope that he knew that I loved him, and he like, you wish that maybe you said it more, like stuff like that you think about. But I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, you kind of take that and you're like, I'm going to move forward in my life with this more open feeling, like, so
Yeah, your heart's cracked open, so you can't help but be honest. And like, I think that's what happens, is that you allow people to see you because you've got nothing to hide anymore. You've already lost the most important person to you in your life, really. So what else is there to lose now? Oh,
Yeah.
You think I'm weird for sharing my feelings? Oh, you think I'm too much? Or maybe it makes you a little uncomfortable. Well, joke's on you, because I'm always uncomfortable now because I've lost my favorite person. So I got nothing to lose.
Right. Yeah, it's like...
that's kind of me. That's, at least I'll speak for myself. Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely think a lot of people are probably like don't know how to take me in some ways. Like, it's kind of like weird. Like, like I know people that have known me a long time and like, we just like click or whatever. But I think that generally with like a lot of people I work with and stuff, like I probably say things that they're just like, what is up with this guy? Even at work the other day, like they came to me and they were like, hey, we're worried that when we stand this thing up, it's going to hit the ceiling. And I was like, well, there's only one way to find out. And they were just like, we knew you were going to say that. Like, just,
yeah.
Just those little isms that I have, like, I thought it was funny. Yeah. But yeah, so happy to hear there's more of the Perfectly Disordered podcast coming.
Definitely.
And yeah, like I think what hopefully will be fun is like finding different ways to expand it and do fun stuff. I know that like one of the ladies I just had on, she's doing a festival in October called the Healing Arts and Music Festival.
Oh, cool.
And she's trying to make that like a type of environment for healing and stuff.
Yeah, maybe you can help plug me in a little more, because I'm still new to this, right? I've done pretty well considering how new I am, but there's still so much community to be built. I know there are other podcasters out there. You're the first one that I've ever been interviewed by. So yeah, I definitely need to expand my horizons, and there's definitely more to come. Like, definitely more to come, and the vision's just increased. The pressure is building now, right? So,
and I think what's cool is like, I think if you can kind of get on with other podcasters and like interact with more people, like you kind of see what they do. It gives you ideas. It's just kind of like this natural progression of, oh, like, maybe that would be fun to try here. Like, like me, like I usually like to wrap up with like some fun what if questions.
Yeah, I do that too.
Try to end with like a, on like a fun, positive note. And some people, like, they're kind of a little taken aback. They're like, whoa, like, I wasn't prepared to think in this way, but it's always like fun.
Oh, I like it.
It's always fun. So,
Do I get those?
Yes, absolutely. That's
Heck
kind of,
yeah.
it's kind of what I was working for.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Towards, so,
hit me.
So yeah, I have a bunch of different ones that I pull from depending on who I have on. But
fun.
So the first one I'm going to ask is, if you could live a day in the life of any historical figure, who would it be?
Oh, shoot. Oh, gosh. All right. Crap. Oh, no, that's a really hard one.
And I say historical, but it could be really anyone in history. It doesn't have to be like George Washington.
I think I would love, my first thought, and I'm sure I'll think about this later and think, but I would love to be Gene Kelly for a day.
Okay.
When he was filming the Singing in the Rain scene.
Okay.
Like in the rain, in the outfit, with the umbrella. I just want to like feel that feeling. That would be so good.
Yeah.
Ugh. Love.
What's cool is like, especially with an actor, I'm sure he probably was doing it a bunch of times and stuff, and then you get that magic take or whatever. But that makes me think of like Prince when he was playing at the halftime show.
Yeah.
He was playing Purple Rain and it starts raining. It was like, that's probably one of the most epic moments ever.
Yeah. To be a part of like such a huge part in art history, musical history, like you just gotta like think like, what did that feel like?
Yeah.
Did they know? Like in that moment, did they know that they were on the cusp of greatness, or was it just another day?
Yeah, another one that I think about when you say that is, about Live Aid. So Live Aid was a concert they did in the 80s. It was supposed to just... it was when all the world leaders were meeting, and they would do like this big concert to kind of raise awareness.
Yes, I've heard.
things.
Yes, okay.
And I think at the big time they were trying to fight poverty and stuff around the world. But I remember that was like when U2 was kind of... They had been successful, but like they weren't like huge yet. And like every band had like 15 minutes, so like we're gonna play this song, then we're gonna play this song, then we're gonna play this song. But in the middle of like their second song, like Bono went out into the crowd because he saw this woman was like trapped against the barricade and was like, she looked like she was in trouble, so he went down and helped her. And so like they ended up just playing the song like too long, and then they didn't have time to play like their big hit or whatever. And like at the time their band was like
right they like lost their moment.
They were like, this got screwed up for us, man. But then like for whatever reason that moment like just became this big moment for them. Like it ended up working out for them really well. But
that's so cool.
But yeah, that's what that made me think of.
Yeah.
All right, next one. If you could put a music festival together with any three bands, like what would be your three bands?
Oh shoot. Oh man. All right. Benson Boone. He's incredible. His album American Heart is like my anthem album. Lorenzo and I saw him in concert. It's like one of the last concerts we went to together, and that album is just fire.
Nice.
Fire. So they would be amazing. Let me cheat a little bit. Look at my phone for a sec because I'm such a music person. It's hard for me to choose.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like, if I'm just holding my guitar, someone will be like, play a song. Okay. And it's like, I know 8,000 songs, but I can't think of one right now.
Okay, so I'm going to do a man-heavy music festival. All right, I'm going to choose four. All right, so we got Benson Boone, Bruno Mars.
I mean,
Andrea Bocelli. And Lady Gaga. Okay. Because, like, that would be, like, I know that's a lot, right? That's a lot of genre that you're covering. However, they are all incredible. They are all theatrical. And of course, Andrea Bocelli would bring the deep culture, right? Lady Gaga could hop in there with him for sure. And Benson Boone definitely could too. So I think that'd be a hell of a show. You'd get everything you need from that.
I always think like the coolest thing that like artists like that can do is like when they interact with each other. Like,
can you imagine that show?
Even like when Lady Gaga like came out and performed with like Metallica, it's like
I know
it's a crossover you don't expect. You know, it's like a really cool moment. You know,
when she did stuff with Tony Bennett before he died, they did a whole album together. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. Or when she did something with Liza Minnelli at an award show for the Oscars. I forget what award show, but the Tonys. It was amazing. Like, again, crossovers, you know. I think that'd be a hell of a festival. Maybe one day, you know.
Yeah. All right. Do you have like a ghost story or like a haunted story? Like
oh Lord, a ghost story or a haunted story? Well, I don't believe in ghosts. I do believe in demonic activity. Ooh, this is a little dark. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Oh God! All right.
If you want to share it. Yeah.
Well, I'll get a little woo woo. So I, before I came back to Christ, I did dabble in some dark stuff, and at one point I went to a psychic, and the psychic told me that I had like psychic abilities, and I was like, okay. So she goes, yeah, talk to your spirit guides, and I go, okay. So I get in my car and I start talking. And that night was in 2017 when I had smoked a little bit of marijuana and I went fully psychotic. And I had spirit guides talk to me for 3 months nonstop, 2 weeks without sleep. So, do I believe in ghosts? No. Do I believe that there's demonic forces? Abso-freaking-lutely. That's why Jesus is king. That's why.
Well, I think our brains work in such weird ways. So I feel like a lot of times that people have those experiences, it's just kind of like your brain, like interpreting a situation a certain way, which is
on fire.
Which is like, it's crazy. Like, I've never had anything, happen that was like concrete, like, whoa, like what's going on? Like, there's definitely been times I've been at work late and been like, am I hearing voices right now? Like, what's going on? Like, it's, like the warehouse, all the lights in the warehouse are off. And I'm like,
me?
But
this isn't overtime.
Or like,
these are not billable hours.
Or I'm sure, yeah, yes, exactly. When my sister used to live here, my older sister, Elena, and like she had a dog, and the dog would do like the weird, like when he would like stare at a wall and then like start barking. You're like, what are you seeing? What are you sensing? Because should I leave? But yeah. All right. Sorry.
You're
Brain
good.
Fart.
You're good. You're good. I like these questions. They're fun.
If you could wake up tomorrow with a new skill, what would it be?
A new skill. That's a good question. Well, I would really.
Is there like something maybe you like watch YouTube videos of and you're like, that's so cool, I wish I could do that? Like,
honestly, I would love to be super tech savvy. That is something that holds me back a lot. That's why I have a great producer. That's why, I get a lot of support. But I think to myself, man, if I just like had that, I could really be a lot further than I am. So I think if I could wake up tomorrow, I would love just to be like a tech savvy freaking wizard who can just push out content all day and freaking amazing reels and, but I think that's part of it, right? Is trying to build the community aspect, right? Because if you can do a one-man show, you can do a one-man show, but you'll do it alone. So right. I think that's, yeah. But that'd be a great skill to have. Also, like to wake up and be like an amazing power lifter.
Yeah.
Like be freaking jacked, like be able to do some crazy calisthenics. That would be cool.
Okay.
I'd be into that.
Yeah, I mean, like definitely I always try to say, like, I think we're in a time where acquiring new skills is much easier than ever. Like, it's so easy to go on YouTube and watch some videos, or even like I know there's a lot of negative stuff around AI, but
AI is
really,
an incredible tool.
It's really easy to Google, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And it'll break it down for you and step-by-step guides. Like, like obviously, like there's a lot of flack it gets of how it's like kind of invading like creative spaces and stuff like that. And that I understand, like, but
I do too. But at the same time, it's the same thing with anything. No one's going to take authentic art away from artists. And I know there are a lot of artists who are probably screaming, listening to this saying, yes, they are. Well, it's like authentic, real, deep, messy art. And again, perfectly disordered, right? We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for art. You can tell when something is real. Now with the video stuff, it's a little different, right? Sometimes the video stuff is going to get tricky. It's going to get better and better. Having a hard time telling if it's a real person or not. That's going to be hard. But when it comes to like, people are always going to prefer a real person. And I think actually live music, live art, anything face-to-face is going to increase in value astronomically. I think that Instagram, YouTube, those things will get cheaper and cheaper because people want to see what's real. So I think that is going to actually press artists forward to say, come into the light. Let us see you because we want to know you're real. So I think, so with any tool, there's a positive and there's a negative. Anything.
Yeah.
AI is the same thing. I think anyone who demonizes AI is not looking at what could be available, even to help artists create amazing things utilizing those tools. So I think that in-person art, live music, live poetry, dancing, like concerts, these things are going to become so much more important because these phones are going to become less and less real. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, they kind of get locked in on, like, the negative side of things. I know there's, like, talk about how, like, it's, like, bad for, like, water stuff because they use water cooling. It's like, okay, like, I don't know enough about it to argue it.
I
but
don't
like,
either. I mean...
But, like, you know, like, somebody was giving me flack for my my Memorial Day thing I did, where I basically took a picture of myself and had it, like, put me with, like, a chef hat and sunglasses.
Okay, I'm going to ask that person, do you have a cell phone? Do you have a cell phone? Oh, do you know where that cell phone came from?
Yeah.
Do you live in a house?
I think of the same thing, too.
Like, literally, like, do you live in a house? Yes. Okay. Do you understand, like, the land that you're on? Like, you could...
Right.
Those are Karens. You can
Yes.
walk this whole thing back and be like, if you have a cell phone, then you're contributing to, like, slavery. Like, are you comfortable with that? And the answer to all of that is no, right? But we live in a certain culture that has certain things that you have to do in order to survive. Yeah, people suck, man.
Yeah,
like,
I
and
know.
people like that are the
I thought it was
worst.
hilarious, you know, like, you know. But anyways, let's
Digress,
bring it back
digress.
to the,
Sorry.
let's bring it back to the
I
fun
get heated.
stuff.
I get heated. You know what I mean?
Here's a good one. I think you'll like this one. Would you rather be able to speak every language or be able to talk to animals?
Oh, speak any language. Animals, I mean, they're cool. I have a dog. He's amazing. But people over animals any day. I don't care what anyone says. People over animals. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Can you imagine what I could do with all these languages? I could freaking crush it. I'd freaking crush it.
So you wouldn't want a Dr. Dolittle situation where you could, like...
Hell no. I don't care what a bunny thinks. Like, no. Like, oh, the grass is really good today. Oh, thanks for sharing. Like no. I like the dog. Oh my God, I sniffed my neighbor's butt today. It was amazing.
What if the bunny was like, I was studying the theory of relativity and, like, I've got to, you know... What if we had animals all wrong?
I mean, oh God, maybe we do. I don't know.
I think that's...
God, I hope not. I really hope not. I like to think that
No.
they're just, like, dead behind the eyes, but...
No, I feel the same way. Like, as fun as it would be to talk to animals, like, I think it'd be really cool to be able to go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And interact with people. But
create
like...
music in other languages.
Yeah.
And...
But, like, I also... that's also cool, too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But I also know, like... I've heard so many stories about, like, artists, like musicians or actors or whatever... You know, they try to go to another country and, like, learn some language so they can, like, try to promote, but then they say something wrong.
And then everyone's like, oh.
And everyone's like, why? Just stick to your own language. It's like I'd love to be able to, like, walk into a room and just, you know,
oh, yeah.
talk to anybody.
Side note, I thought of one other thing. If I could wake up the next day and have that skill, my brother had this skill. He could play any instrument.
Oh, wow.
So, like, any instrument, even if he'd never touched it, he had, like, a tuned ear, like a, what's it called? There's a name for it. He could, like, hear pitch. Like, he could, like, tell you what it is. But any instrument he could pick up, and I cannot play. I could play the recorder in middle school. I can't play a single instrument, and I've tried. And to be able to wake up and play, like, any instrument well would be amazing. Like, oh, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. Sorry, I had to bring that back to that.
Yeah, I think that there's, you know, I've gotten better with it over the year. Like, I'm not like a virtuoso with any instrument, but like I've definitely gotten a better ear in terms of, like, being able to hear, like, that's a good note, that's a bad note, like, you know, stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But I think that's cool. Like, and what's funny is, like, sometimes I think if people are, like, kind of naturally gifted in that stuff, they don't look at it as, like, you know, the same as maybe somebody that's, like, been working for years to be.
Lorenzo
like,
always
really
used to think he
good
was
at it.
cheating the system.
Yeah.
Right? Because he learned how to play the guitar in 2 days. Like, full-blown songs. Like, no problem. And, like, play any song by ear on the piano. He's like, I'm not really a musician. It's like... Because he didn't feel like he earned it. That's the thing, right? Is the earning of the art. Yeah. That's not true.
Well, I mean, you know, like, if, you know, some people that have, like, the photographic memory and stuff, they can read stuff and remember it. It's like, hey, man, if you got it, use it. Like, I think you're given a gifts for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's a God thing for sure.
cool. All right. Trying to think of one more that I've been asking.
Sure.
Yeah, like
I'm ready.
I've had a rough month.
Oh, I'm sorry.
not like rough, but like just busy month.
Same.
So like I said, I was trying to pull up the questions earlier, so I'm trying to remember some of the ones I've done.
You
off
can
the
think
top
of one on
my
the
head.
fly.
Yeah.
You'd make up a new one.
I mean, would you rather ones are always
Do
fun.
one. Yeah, do it.
Like, would you rather like, let's say if you could play an instrument, would you rather be able to play the drums or guitar?
I think drums, because like a female drummer, it's freaking badass. Like you look at like Gilmore Girls, that's like a women's show, and like there's this girl, her name's Lane Kim, and she plays the drums. Freaking amazing. Like just to be a girl drummer and to freaking crush it. Yeah. 100%.
All right, you made me think of one. And then it slipped my mind.
I love this
and then
game.
it slipped my mind. Oh, yes. If you could be a character in any TV show or movie, like who would you want to be?
Ooh, TV show or movie.
Or like you could be
Okay, I got two.
your own character, like interacting with the characters, or you could be in a show as a character.
I got two.
Right.
Two. One is one is the girl character from the movie Sing Street. It's a movie all about music in the 1980s in Ireland. A young kid falls in love with this girl named Rafina. He starts a band to impress her, and she's a model. He wants to have her in his music video. So Rafina would be a character I'd love to play. Another one would be Zooey Deschanel in the movie 500 Days of Summer.
Yes.
That character speaks to my soul. That movie speaks to my soul. It is so well written. It's stunning visually. And the music, like the Smiths, and oh my gosh, like, and her character is just so, it's so good. So yeah, those would be my two that I can think of right now. And music is so important in those movies. Like, you got to watch Sing Street. It's one of my faves.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I have seen 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, man. Yeah, the Sing Street's all about Hall & Oates, the rise of, like, Aha, and, like, all of those kinds of bands and the influence they had on Europe. Really cool.
Nice. Have you ever seen, it's called Yesterday, I think?
Yes. So good.
Yeah, another good movie.
So good.
All right, well, thank you for doing this, and I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
And, I look forward to seeing what happens with the Perfectly Disordered podcast. I hope that you'll have me on some time.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, it's really good to see you.
Oh, good to see you too.
And, I know it's been tough lately, so,
yeah.
It's just hang in there.
Yeah.
You do have people that love you, and, that's what I hope other people will take away from, like, this kind of medium of talking to people and really getting to know them. It's like, people care about what you're going on, like, I know it's really hard sometimes to, like, feel like you have that time to really, like, dig deep into something. And that's kind of what my goal with this has been.
Yeah. Slow down time.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. I was nervous, a little bit. I have been putting off sitting down with anybody new for the show, I think just because of the energy it takes to set up. So having you invite me on and take this time to do this really helps me to put myself back into that mental space. And it's kind of nerve-wracking because Lorenzo passed away, March 30th. And it's like, how much do I talk about that? But at the same time, like, it's the most relevant thing to me right now. It also ties into the show. So it feels good to be able to share. It feels good to be able to laugh and talk about art and the heart of things. And and this is all important stuff that we're discussing, even the silly things.
Yeah, and
important.
like it's a tough thing for a lot of people to know how to approach too. Like, with when my dad passed away, it's like a lot of people don't really know how to, like, they don't really know what to say other than, like, I'm sorry for your loss or sending prayers and stuff. And like, it's also, like, tough to expect people to know the right things to say. It's all you can, like, the thing that I think I've understood the most is, like, now when I see, like, someone else has gone through something like that, losing somebody, it's like all you can do is be like, I've been where you're at. Just hang in there, and that's like sometimes just letting people know that you see them and you understand what they're going through, or that like, that you just want them to get through it and be strong. Like that can be, those little things can be really, really helpful.
They add up so much. When you reached out to me recently and just said, hey, just checking in on you, like I'm proud of you. I mean, that spoke volumes. You hardly said anything, and it made such an impact. And I think, like, don't be for people who might be in a similar situation where they know someone who's lost someone, do not be afraid just to say, hi, I'm thinking of you. I see you. I don't even know what to say. Saying that you don't know what to say is better than saying nothing at all. Truly. So don't be afraid to do that.
I think that's like something that a lot of people like are afraid to do sometimes, like just letting people know that you're thinking about them, whether it's mundane or, they're going through something. And like I try to be better about that, because it's very easy for me to get like engulfed in the things that I have going on. So, and I know that it's probably the same for everybody. And so,
and I think like just to, because it's relevant, if you ever feel like, whoever's listening, if you ever feel hopeless, if you ever feel like your life lacks meaning, if you feel like you'd be better off gone, I just invite you to think about the fact that you're a gift from God. Like, you matter because you're here. And don't be afraid to tell someone that you're hurting. And it doesn't have to be a family member. It can be someone at work that you trust. It could be the male guy that you really like. Care enough about the people in your life to tell them how you feel. Let them see you. People want to love you, and God loves you. And even just to tell someone, I'm in pain, right? Even if you're scared to tell them what's really on your mind, just letting them know. And I can't help but say it, because it's so important that people know that it's okay to say these things to people. It's relevant, it matters, and your life matters, and your life matters. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here.
That was great.
Thank you for listening, everybody. If you are struggling with suicidal thoughts or are in distress, please know that help is available. You are not alone, and there are people who want to support you. If you're in the U.S., call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also text HOME to 741-741 to connect with the Crisis Textline. If you are outside the U.S., please find a helpline to find free, confidential crisis support in your country. For additional support services, visit 988lifeline.org.